All right, ladies and gentlemen, for our homework, we are going to finish this activity with the natural selection simulation. So the first thing that we looked at was just building our birds. So I built 3 different birds. And then remember, for part 1, we're just really keeping track of them over that 500,000 years to see how they change and see how their populations change in numbers as well. So as we go through, when we stop, occasionally some information will pop up. So for my bird number 2, it popped up that there was actually a mutation, and it said that the beak is less curved. And if I read the information, it says that these individuals are actually more fit, and this characteristic becomes more common within that population. So I'm going to make sure, so I'm trying to switch between a few devices, but let's see. I'm just trying to make sure that I record the information. It doesn't have to be super fancy, just notes. So I wrote the numbers to indicate my birds. So bird 2 was the yellow one, bird 1 was the green one, and bird 3 was the brown one. So I wrote their total population number, what happened to bird 2, so just a beak less curved, and then that, this actually made it more fit, so it became common. So then I'll continue this for the duration of the 500,000 years. So I'm trying to click back. So start. Okay. Oops, resume. There you go. Perfect. So then I see something again. Looks like I had something occur with my brown bird. So for 3, so I'm just using the numbers. So 3 is this brown bird. It says that now the mutation is the beak is longer. So something changes in the DNA that's causing that characteristic to change. But then if I'm looking at the mutation effects for 3, it says the mutation did not increase or decrease fitness related to the food or predators, but the mutation made the offspring susceptible to disease and they died off. Okay. So for my mutation effects, I'm just going to write the group was no more fit and died off. Okay, so in fact, the longer beak, then it didn't survive within that population. And then I'm just going to make a little note of what my populations are. So 1, 2, 3. So 1, now I'm still growing to 648. 2, I'm decreasing, now it says 72. And 3 is 532. So I predicted that bird 2 wasn't going to do very well, so we'll just have to see what happens. But again, just keeping track of that information, just writing down just quick notes, what happened. Okay, and then I go back and I'm just going to continue. So we'll do one more little thing together. Oh gosh, I'm wondering if bird 2 is going to end up dying off here. Alright, so it looks like 2, after another 50,000 years, had another little change. So the plumage, so plumage is just the feathers, plumage is singular, is orange. Okay, it says the mutation did not increase or decrease fitness related to food or predators. But the mutation made the offspring better mates. Okay, so for 3, now we know. Orange feathered birds. Or sorry, 3. This is bird 2. I'm sorry, I wrote 3. Orange feathered birds. Okay. Made offspring better mates. Something to keep in mind. Okay. There we go. So if they're making them better mates, then perhaps it'll become quite common within our population. And again, just noting the overall population numbers. So 1 is still growing to 798. 2 is decreasing, now just 22. And then 3 is growing, but not quite as fast at 632. So just making those notes. I'm just going to show you real quickly what I'm writing down. So I made a few mistakes. I was trying to talk and write at the same time, which doesn't work for me, but just noting the mutation, what happened, and the numbers. That's it. So I'm going to go through that series of 500,000 years, and then I will pick back up, and I'm going to show you what we're doing next, okay? Okay. when we're done going through the 500,000 years, we're going to look at 4 and we're going to compare how our birds have changed. So it says with your group, but don't worry about the group part, just do it on your own. So if I look at my birds, actually bird 1 became smaller and it has now just a tiny, very straight beak. Bird 2, as I predicted, didn't do well and died off, but I could still note some changes that it did turn orange. Okay, so this turned, oops, orange. I'm making some notes on number 4, sorry, from yellow. Okay, and after the 500,000 years, actually, bird number 3 now has a straighter, pointier beak, and the plumage changed color, so now it's light green, which blends in very well with the environment. And at the top, if we look, it's just an indication of the foods that they can eat. So it says that this one can eat some seeds and some insects. It looks though, I think the size is supposed to indicate in general what they're eating. So I think this one's eating more insects than seeds. On the other hand, the little tiny bird is eating more seeds than insects. Okay. And then 2's dead, so it's not eating anything anymore. So then I look at the next one. I just made some notes. You can write it out, in a nice sentences, but I just making notes. So 1 got smaller, has straighter beak. Okay, 2, it died off, but it did turn orange from yellow. 3 now is light green. It was originally brown and has longer, straighter beak. So then I go through, does this match my predictions? Well, for 2 it does, because I really built bird 2 thinking that it wasn't going to survive well there, so I might say, okay, for bird 2, yes, I predicted it wasn't going to do well because I made a big bird that's colorful and was originally intended to eat nectar and there wasn't available there. So, whoops, I kind of did that intentionally just to see what happened. So then, 6 don't worry about, this is compare with other groups, so don't worry about that. Now, for part B. So let's see, going back, I'm going to hit continue. Okay, so here we have the side by side actually right there, so you can take a look at that again. It's pretty interesting how much they changed after 500,000 years. But remember, as we're watching, the changes that occurred, so there were mutations that came up that were not beneficial to the population. And if they weren't beneficial to the population, they kind of eventually just died off. So the birds that had those characteristics didn't survive and reproduce well within that population. So only the characteristics that were beneficial to survival and reproduction tended to stick around for an extended period of time. Okay, and become actually more common within the population, like the transition to the slightly straighter beak and the transition to the green plumage here as well. So next part, so this is a hurricane. A hurricane hits the island. With this change, we're actually saying that with this disturbance, the birds were moved to some different areas of the islands that are going to have some different characteristics. So they're no longer just looking at that one zone with the same environmental conditions. Now we're looking at something slightly different. So we get to select the environment. So this is for the first one. For food, you may only spend 3 points. Okay, it tells you some is 1 point and plentiful is 2 points. So I can decide whatever I want. It kind of depends because I know what my birds are now. So if I want to just see, okay, they're eating a lot of insects and seeds, so I can decide on my balance of that, but it has to only add up to 3. Okay. Then we can decide on whether or not we want there to be anything slightly different. So if I wanted, to be honest, I could choose if I think I want a similar environment. So this is going to be quite similar to the previous environment. So there's seeds, there's insects, no nectar. Maybe just to make it exciting, I'll make it a slightly different color. I can't tell what color is these are. I wonder if I hover over if it'll say. Okay. And then maybe for fun, I'm just going to throw in some sinks. Just see how that goes. All right, we'll continue. This is my first environment. So I set it up, it's there, okay? And the other environments are actually given to me. So now we're going to see, we have the addition of another bird here, and we're going to see how they do in these different environments. So we'll hit continue. Okay. Once we hit continue, we see we have our northeast environment, our northwest environment, and our southeast environment. So if we want to click to view, we can see the characteristics. So the northeast environment was the one that I set up with the seeds and some insects. And I think I chose a slightly different green color just to make it slightly different, and some snakes. Then the northwest says plenty of seeds and insects, some nectar, and no snakes, but it's yellow. So they're not at all camouflaged now. And then if I look at my southeast, well, my southeast environment is brown. And now I don't have any seeds available. I've got some insects, I've got some flowers, no snakes. Okay. I feel like I just want to throw the snakes in there just to see how that would change everything. But we're just recording some of this information as we go through. So looking at our environments, we're just going to kind of answer our questions as we go, okay, through number 8. Trying to make predictions again, so looking at which one do you think will be more fit in these environments and why. And then we're doing pretty much the same thing for number 9. So this is watch the animation, and then we're going to make some notes about mutation, mutation effects, environment, and the population number. So I'm going to hit start. Okay, perfect. And now we have kind of more complex information because we are looking at a bunch of zones. So I see the following, okay? I see mutations in, so I'm going to do some abbreviations. Northeast, bird 2. Northeast 2. I see a mutation in northwest 3. And I see a mutation in southeast 3. Okay, and I'm saying 3, sorry, the numbers I'm saying are the birds. So we're looking at birds 2, so northeast section, bird 2, northwest section, bird 3, southeast section, bird 3. Then I'm just writing whatever changed. So this one says, okay, for one section we've got people curved. For another section, what happened down here? Move this away. Plumage light brown, which I might predict might make them a little bit better able to survive and reproduce. And then this one says plumage is dark green. Okay. Plumage dark green. Green. Okay. I'm going to note my populations. So northeast, northwest, southeast. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, oops, 2 and 3. Okay. 3, 6, 6. 3, 6, 4. Oops, 6, 3, 8. Oh wow, they're doing much better in this lower section. So now I've got 1062. 1062. And 1228. And then southeast we've got 462. 462. And 728. Okay, perfect. All right, I don't see any notes at the moment about mutation effects or the environment except for this. So it says predators now in the environment. Oof, okay. So environment northwest. Predators. All right, so I'm just going to make those notes. I have some predictions though. I have a prediction that this will probably make this bird more fit and this will make this bird more fit if they're more camouflaged to their environment. So maybe I'll just write that now. Let's see. I'm going to show you what I'm writing. Let's click back here. Perfect. So I just made a list of the populations. Now I said northwest has predators. I'm just using these cardinal direction abbreviations. So northeast, northwest, southeast. Okay. Effects. So I'm gonna make a little